Do you ever struggle with your calendar, with your daily tasks, not knowing what to do on which day, feeling like you never have enough time or to market your business? Today in this video, I'm going to show you what I do exactly on a weekly basis, what my days look like when I'm growing my company from scratch. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erkka Suvanto. Some of you call me EJ. I'm the guy on social media who wants to build a legacy for my own kids and pass on all the life and business lessons to each and every one of you. I have built 3 companies up to 5 million level all by myself, and now talking about those lessons so that you can learn from my mistakes and grow your business without the same headaches. As I mentioned in my intro, here behind me, no, it's not a school calendar. It's actually my weekly planner now. I'm going to show you in this video what I do on a weekly basis, what my days look like as far as actions go to grow my company. We have talked about several times in my channel how small businesses are small for a reason, because our customers don't know we exist. Therefore, we need to promote at least 3 or 4 hours every day to let people know that our products and services are out there. That's why every stage when it comes to growing a business requires different actions. If I look at my corporate days, my calendar was that of a typical manager. I filled my days with 15, 30-minute, 60-minute meetings with my team members and with other members of the large corporation. I wanted to get a pulse, a status check from my people where we are. How are we doing regarding this action? What are the next steps? That's a typical manager way of handling things. So my job was first and foremost to fill up my calendar. When you're a creative person, you have a completely opposite goal. You want to make sure that you have empty slots on your calendar because you need that time to reflect, to think, and move the ball forward in giant leaps. And in order to do that, you can't be interrupted all the time. This is something I didn't understand when I had my corporate job. But then when I started my own business, I started to realize that there are actually 2 types of roles that every business owner needs to handle. There's the maker role as far as creating those ad campaigns and designing the websites and doing everything that requires quiet time. And then there's the manager task as well, which is to talk to clients, answer emails, phone calls, texts, and all of the daily hassle that typically occupies 90% of our calendar. Now that I'm starting a new business, my calendar looks completely different. And the purpose of this video today is to show you how I have now developed and created my empty space for creating content and marketing and promoting my company and what my days look like. Let's start. So I have first of all obviously divided the calendar into days. Weekend is one column here. I didn't have enough space. Then I have different time slots. From my day starts at 7 in the morning and basically ends at 8 p.m. at night. It's a long day, 12 to 13 hours depending on the day, but that's what it takes to grow my company and get good at this new business that I just started. My morning slot pretty much across 7 days looks identical. And this is what I call the consume time slot. This to me means that I start my day off right. I'm consuming positive content. I might be listening to a podcast, I might be taking notes, or anyhow occupying my mind with something positive. It doesn't mean that I keep endlessly scrolling social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. That's not on my agenda at all. I want to make sure that this is something positive. Consume positive content. This morning, actually, today is Thursday, I had a very fascinating, interesting YouTube video or podcast that I started listening to last night, and I continued this morning, and it actually generated lots of ideas. So this to me works really well. I'm the first one waking up in my house when my kids are still sleeping before they go to school. So I have that quiet, usually anywhere between 1 or 2 hours to work on this type of stuff. And this works really well for me. So this continues across the board pretty much. Occasionally, Saturdays and Sundays, I might not do that, especially if I don't train on both days. I try to sleep in at least on one day, and therefore I just give myself a break. But 7 to 9 is my consume time block. But positivity is the key. Then we change colors and move on to the next one. So then the 9 to 11 time slot, when it comes to my life, is reserved for training. So this is the train. But since I don't train 7 days a week, I also give myself an open time slot. So let's say this week, if I train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, that gives me Tuesday and Thursday and Sunday as those open time slots. So usually I would then either book client meetings here or do some of my manager tasks, or depending on the day, I give myself flexibility. But I will never sacrifice this training part, because keeping myself in shape is not just good for my physical well-being, but also for my mental well-being. So this is extremely important to me. Then the next time block here is the 11 to 12, which is identical to my 4 to 5 p.m. time slot as well. And this is the so-called manager time slot. And this is when I answer emails, phone calls, and pay bills. Anything that needs my immediate attention. 11 to 12, and the same thing happens between 4 and 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And this is with the exception of Saturday and Sunday, then I don't have that reserved. Then moving on and going to the biggest time block here, which is 4 hours. So afternoon is typically for me my most productive time of the day, together with the morning. So therefore I have reserved a whole 4 hours for this. And this is the create part. This is when I record my videos and take notes and prepare for new content. Since I'm pretty much still building the foundation for my new business coaching, quote unquote, company or service or business, this is what it takes for me to create the content, to make sure that I prepare for that. And this goes across the board. I take occasionally the other day off, Sunday or Saturday, but this is pretty much 6 days a week times 4. So we're looking at roughly 24 hours every week. So if in the beginning we talked about reserving enough time to promote and market our business, so in my case, creating content out of those 4 ways how we can promote: posting organic social media content, running paid ads, contacting strangers, and contacting people we know. So this is one of the 4. And in my case, it's 24 hours minimum every week. Sometimes more, depending on my open time slots here in the morning section if I don't train. I might create content, I might take notes, contact customers, talk to my existing clients, and so forth. And then we go to my next manager block, which was the 4 to 5 p.m. And again, the same thing happens here. So I have my emails, phone calls, and bills to pay. And again, then in the afternoon, which color should we take? I'm going to use green, like the consume. In the morning, so this is my, what I call study / consume. And typically in the evening, I read books. To me, I'm not a good book reader, but podcast, something informative, goes into this slot as well. So study, consume, reserved 2 hours in the evening for that. Then one might ask, okay, what about client meetings? If I have face-to-face or video calls with my clients, I have 5 clients right now, which I have mentioned in the past. So those I would typically book here for this morning slot, which is open occasionally. And then sometimes I might take an afternoon slot here. It could be a Thursday or Friday. So I'm going to put the client here and client here. In the future, it's going to change. So time will tell which way I'm going to take this business and how many face-to-face meetings I have and how many clients I end up having. If that's my business model, I'm going to let you guys know, since this is a two-way street. I will be documenting my journey, and there are plenty of unknowns still at this point. But one of the things I'm still undecided on is the final state of my business, whether this is going to be more of a face-to-face type of a service, kind of done for you, done with you service for the paying customers, or if I take this business more towards information services online. Those two are still viable options in my mind, but time will tell. But since I'm growing my company, and this is very important to understand, so in the beginning when my revenue is still basically non-existing, and I would say that this same applies to any company almost, I would say, under $1 million, depending of course on the employee structure and how many people work for the company and so forth. But especially in my case, when I'm just starting, this is how the calendar should look like, in my opinion. So the heaviest emphasis is on promoting the business, getting new customers, marketing, and letting our future prospects know that we actually exist. So therefore, in my case, there's plenty of create slots here, study, get better, make sure that this content that I'm consuming in the morning, studying or consuming in the evening is then turned into something that I'm recording, talking about, and referring to in my material. So this is what I wanted to cover today. Any company, small, just starting, should seriously consider creating a calendar for that company in such a way, or for the founder in such a way, that the biggest emphasis is on creating content, is on marketing and promoting the business, because we can't be occupying our time only with the manager tasks. That is very tempting, and that is the hardest part. If you have a brick and mortar business, for instance, and it requires your physical presence in the store, so how the heck are you going to do this? So then obviously the calendar looks completely different. If your store is open 12 hours a day, you still need to find that 3 to 4 hours every day to promote and market your business, create those ads, contact people, make sure that you don't stay small. Then unfortunately it might be here. I'm fortunate now in a way, and I have some passive income coming from somewhere else, and I have some real estate deals that hopefully in the future as well keep paying my bills until this grows. But I can't be just without doing anything or have no money coming in forever. But I'm in a situation where I can put together my daily calendar such that I'm optimizing all my doings, all my actions and activities around creating content and marketing. But the key to remember here is that we can be wishing for good results, but if we don't take action, if we don't show those actions on our calendar and systematically start following that process, meaning, in other words, creating a checklist for ourselves. And that's what the calendar function is so good, because when you put it on your calendar, you schedule it, then it automatically becomes a very visible goal for yourself. And that's what happens to me as well. When I put it on my calendar, I stick to it. If it's nowhere, it's so easy to deviate from that plan. So as boring as it might sound, but turning everything into an operational process or checklist, just fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, is the solution. It's the most effective solution. How can we standardize the things that we need to do? And calendar, to me, is the best way to standardize and operationalize anything and everything that I do. First, I identify the winning actions, then I plug them in here into these empty slots, keeping in mind that my company below 50K or 100K or $1 million a year requires very different actions from the founder than later on when I have been able to establish myself. Then my calendar might look completely different. But now in the beginning, the biggest focus is on creating content and marketing and promoting. That's all I had today, so some very practical tips. Hopefully this was helpful. If you like the videos, please hit the subscribe and like button. And as always, I'll talk to you later, and all comments are welcome. Thank you for watching.